Now you say?
There. It is hit. Yes, we're now live. Yay.
You know, Stuart and Joshua, those are some unusual Skype problems. I know you guys couldn't necessarily see them, but that was like, let's throw kitchen sink problems. It's like, where did that come from? What is this? What is this? Okay.
Yeah, but we managed to make it thanks to Samuel's ingenuity and cleverness.
Meaning moving boxes, reshifting, and slightly lying. And you got only you will know what I'm doing, guys.
But, guys, I want to introduce you to Joshua Irwin.
Live!
With the Avalon Universe.
Oh my god.
Hey, guys.
So, yeah, if you have any questions for him, this is the time to ask him, because he's going to be here for a live, and we're going to have a good discussion, hopefully.
And obviously, if you've been following the channel, which would be absurd if you're on this live and haven't followed the Trekyards channel, hey, welcome! If you're that one subset in, But if you have, then you've seen Joshua on the channel several times, I believe 4 times at this point. Look at multi different designs and future videos as well to come that we've already filmed, so that'll be past Joshua and very past us as it gets further. But he's live now, so any questions, burning questions, comments, thoughts, and he may even tell you about future stuff. Because it's not edited. I can't just take out the spoiler filled. If you can make him let slip a spoiler of episode 7, that's on him.
I gotta say, I like our TOSL cars that we got going on here. This looks nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does look cool. I like it.
Yes. And it's, that's why I said to Tim, we need 3 people. Always 3 people boxes as well, just in case. Yes. He was like, okay, hey. Yes.
This is the thumbnail you got there is the really neat shot from Demons that was right after they took a phaser hit or a disruptor hit from the Klingons and the ship rocked, and that was one where Victoria had a lot of fun, like staging all the actors' movements and all that kind of stuff. So pretty neat shot.
Yeah, originally it was a picture of you, but that we know you, some people know you, but this is like a lot of budget and value on one frame at the same time, and it's a lot of different elements.
And he wanted to make sure that people actually showed up, so showing a picture of you might not be a good idea. I'm just kidding.
Yes.
Well, look, we show animated us if we ever want to get people to watch our lives, and so that's best version of us, because we don't age like that, Stuart. It's been several years, and they refuse to age.
Yes.
I could probably age our CG us by adding wrinkled in the textures, but that'd be a hell of a thing. Stuart, I'll make us old. I'll make our 3D us old.
Well, Samuel, go share.
I've already had somebody ask me if I can use like kind of the de-aging software and some like face apps or whatever to make them look younger for a film. So
I've been testing with that on something else, so you'll may or may not see that. I'm 16 days into a calculation render on that. 16 days. Yeah. I'm gonna go share.
Oh, dang.
Okay, you go share. I'll tell the people all about the super chats. We already got 3 in here, which is awesome. We're going to read those as soon as Samuel gets back. But guys, it's important for the channel. Helps us out. Lets us know that you love us. And by all means, if you can, please do. You can also send a PayPal. The address is trekyards@hotmail.com. All the information is in the description of every video. So if you do that, make sure you let us know in the regular chat that you sent it, and we'll read your comment or question via the email from PayPal. So otherwise, we might not know that we got one. So let us know. You can also join the channel. Of course, make sure you're subscribed, but there's a join button down there as well that helps us on a monthly basis. And there's some cool perks and stuff if you join at different ranks. So check that out. You can also head on over to Patreon/Trekyards. Again, another monthly service. So lots of ways to help us out. Plus, we have our Teespring store and our TeePublic store. And right now, the stuff on the TeePublic store is on sale, 35% off. So if you want to go check that out and get yourself some really cool Trekyards merch, by all means, go ahead. That's another way to support the channel as well. So, I've got to wait for Samuel to come back now, Joshua. But how have you been doing? You doing okay?
Pretty good. We had a little adventure this past weekend. We shot Agent of New Worlds, the final weekend of shooting for that, where we oh goodness sakes, we shot 2 days both on the sets, and then on the 3rd day of shooting we went out into the wilderness and braved the elements. And when I say we braved the elements, I'm not understating the matter. We went all the way out to an area in southern Oklahoma that was a nature preserve, and took a trail out to a cave to do some establishing shots of a cave that we have in our film.
Mhm.
And trail is kind of a loose term because there wasn't actually a trail. It was more like, some red ribbons marked on trees to show you the path of least resistance. And it kind of all culminated in us climbing some boulders up the side of a mountain about 1,600 feet and then back down over the course of about 3 miles to find this cave. So bit sore from the adventure, but I didn't expect it to kind of go down like that. When we Googled this cave, it was like 1.9 mile hike, to the cave entrance, and it was more than that, and not a trail. So we darn nearly killed ourselves to go find a cave to shoot outside of.
Maybe you found the wrong cave. Maybe the one you were going for you missed.
Oh, maybe. But it was a beautiful cave. I sent Sam some photos of it that he can show here in just a little bit. But man, it was a lot of fun. I can tell you that. It was one of those days that it's the reason why that you do filmmaking, is to have some experience that you'll never forget with your friends. And this definitely qualified as that. It's a day we'll never forget. We got scuffed and cut, and I slipped once and sprained my foot, and we made it in and we made it out. And there were points in this deal where we were trying to get back, where I was like, I wonder if we'll make it out of here before dark, and they'll have to send somebody in to rescue us or something. I don't know. It was pretty crazy.
Well, at least you didn't run into a Bigfoot or anything like that. So, I mean, it can't be that
No,
bad.
we didn't. And I think one of us got bitten by a tick, but there wasn't anything crazy regarding animals. I mean, they tell you to watch out for rattlesnakes and that sort of stuff, but fortunately we didn't run into anything like that. We saw some spiders at the bottom of a cave, another kind of cave area that we didn't shoot at, but yeah, it was crazy. I never thought for a fan film I'd be doing that. And we drove, I don't know, 5 hours just to get there. So,
am I right that you once drove like 19 hours and then back? Something like that, you crazy American?
yeah, it was, we left, our director of photography, Neil Bilby, we all met at his house in Farmington, Arkansas at about 5 a.m. And we left from there, and we got to, it was the Wichita Mountains Nature Preserve is where we shot. And we got there about 10:30 a.m. And we got out, and this place was straight out of Arena. I mean, it was like we were hoping we didn't run into a Gorn as soon as we got out of the car.
Well, I mean, you could have brought one. Then you would have known. You would have had it all controlled.
We may have to do that next time, because we got out and looked at this place, and it was like, man, we should have shot the whole film here. But we go and we start like looking at the trail guides. There were like maps and stuff on the trail, and it was like we couldn't find this cave anywhere. It was nowhere on the map, and so we started just like hiking random trails hoping to find it, and we couldn't find it. And so about noon we gave up and decided to go to Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and get something to eat. And when we got back into civilization, we were able to download a better map. And the map was like, oh, the trail's overgrown and there's some trees in places. I'm like, oh, this shouldn't be too bad. We get out there and it's just like, there's no trail. I mean, there was no trail. It was guesswork following a treasure map through the thick of the elements. And if you'd seen this place, like, we were kind of out of our minds doing this, but
aren't we all as fan filmmakers? I mean, you say that, but
we kind of got a warrior spirit about us, and just decided that we weren't gonna give up. And once you've climbed 1,600 feet on top of boulders, and you get to the top of a mountain and you look over the crest and you see the cave, it's just like, golly. We didn't think we'd find it for a while. It's just like, man, where is this thing? But we got down there, and it was cool.
Stuart, you're muted.
Yeah, man, there I am.
Yes.
All right, that's some super chats we should probably get to right away. Get those out of the way, then we can move on.
Those wonderful people.
So we got Not a Band account with $2. Good. Good. More Andorians. Diversity is our strength. Yes. Gotta love the variety of Andorians.
Founding race should be represented.
We're going to see more Andorians in Avalon, and we're going to see some other species too. On Orion, we're going to see, might even see a Ferengi.
That's a high bar as well. To do right, anyway.
Yeah.
To do right. But, Stuart Super Chat, then I'll jump into the question.
Yeah. Not a banned account, $5.
Hey.
Captain Foley is never late. This was before we started. We must be under attack. Computer initiate destruct sequence, not a banned account.
Oh, okay. So you're gonna
Captain destruct sequence 1, code 1A. Jaddock Productions, $2 Australian, so thank you. It's alive, it's alive. Cheer, everyone. Yes, we finally made it. And Marco Van Osh puts in €5.50. It says, hi, Josh. Good to see you on Trekyards. I enjoy Avalon. Just put something in your GoFundMe as well. And really guys,
that.
What? So that's a plug, isn't it? That's right there.
Yeah, the GoFundMe link is pinned to the top of the chat. So if you want to contribute, please at least check it out.
And we're now playing Avalon Lost on the other screen because we've got a plethora of work we can show. Motion work, unlike the CBS stuff where we have to sort of not show it. So tell us the sort of brief summary of why Avalon Universe is cool. Frame it like that. Why is this universe cool?
Why is it cool? Well, it's a universe that's free of restraint. You know what I mean? It's a canvas that we have a lot more freedom to paint on because, if you were going to do just TOS era in the Prime Universe, you'd be restricted to certain things that you could do. Whereas if you're in a different universe, you have all kinds of creative freedom to do something neat that you wouldn't do otherwise. Like we talked about seeing a Ferengi. Well, you may not be able to see a Ferengi in the TOS universe. The other really neat thing that I think is cool about it is the vision of it is essentially all Star Trek in one Star Trek. So it's influenced by every single version of Star Trek we've ever seen. It's not just TOS. If you look at the uniforms, it's weird because you've got TOS colors, but they're Kelvin timeline uniforms. But you put that Discovery badge on them, and suddenly it has a TNG look. So it's sort of a way of roundabout having it all there at one time. We're doing holograms, we're doing LCARs, we're doing all kinds of different cool effects that you wouldn't do normally. And in the next few films, we're going to have some, as far as our own canon goes, we're going to have some explanations as to why some of these things are different, as to why you're seeing LCARs and holograms way earlier in the Avalon universe, or, and even we're baking in an explanation as to why the Avalon universe even exists. So with, for example, with the Kelvin timeline, the explanation is that Nero went back in time.
The explanation is poor.
Boom, and created a new universe. Well, we have an explanation on how the Avalon universe diverged from the Prime universe that we're going to do. Right. And even an interesting crossover with Axanar, in that we're going to see events from the Axanar continuity in our universe, and maybe even have a crossover with the Axanar universe at some point as well.
Even more confusing.
We're going to have crossovers with the Prime universe. We're going to have crossover with Mirror, and then we'll go outside of Star Trek when we do Crisis on Infinite Excaliburs, and we will see Babylon 5 and Galaxy Quest and Stargate and all kinds of other crazy stuff. So,
but I'm eager to pimp when we get to that point.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for that day.
Materials worked up for that. So, but that's right now we're working on a film called Agent of New Worlds. We released Cosmic Stream just a few weeks ago, and we're
Saladin. If you've seen it, Stuart, there's some Saladin love.
The Saladin, in fact, the actual, not just a Saladin class, but Saladin herself. And that's I did that on purpose just to kind of irritate Tyler a little bit, because he's always called it the USS Salad. And so I established that his character had once served on it, which I thought was fun.
Well, we have a super chat from Mark Lawrence, $5. Thank you,
Mark.
Mark. Looking forward to more Avalon films, truly made by fans for fans.
Thank you.
And William J. Has a question. Where did the Avalon, well, you kind of talked about this and you're going to be revealing it, but where did the Avalon separate from the Prime universe? Do they have Enterprise in common?
They do have Enterprise in common.
Everyone seems to.
I will tell you that the point of separation is essentially just after the M5 computer battle, and that there is an event that occurred. We've already talked about it in universe, but not established that that was what caused the separation. In Cosmic Stream, they talked about this life form that came from outside of the dimensional plane and entered into the physical universe, and that entry of this energy-based extra dimensional life form into the physical universe separated the Avalon universe from the Prime universe. And the event was sort of like when you take a stone and you throw it into a pond and it ripples across. It caused changes in the Avalon universe to occur not just after that event, but before the event as well. So that's the event that separated it. But you have this interesting thing going on to where that separation didn't simply happen afterwards. It happened before. It affected time before as well, because time and space are kind of meaningless in what we call the cosmic stream, which is it's sort of the hub of the multiverse. It's where the traveler is from, where time, space, and thought all sort of converge. And we're going to learn more about the cosmic data stream and the life forms that live there and how it contributed to this whole thing.
Because unlike other stories in Trek where it's a truly parallel from time immemorial, you know the direct point, and so it's a branch, and so as it's created, there is no before that branch. That's the whole point. It's a parallel new universe, and so that's all being created. But doesn't that, if it's all brand new and it never actually happened, that means if you ever went into the past of that universe, they'd be existing for the first time in that past new universe.
Perhaps. Now there are events that we see that are before that event, and what we see are people wearing TOS uniforms, and it looks a lot more like TOS for that reason, that's more when the universes were aligned. And so I call that sort of the crosstalk era, where it's a lot more TOS at that point in time, and then after the actual divergence, it changes a lot. Like you see the change to the new uniforms at the very beginning of Ghost Ship, which is right after that battle.
Do you have a question, Stuart? Or have something else jump in on?
I was just gonna, for people that might not know about the Avalon universe, how long have you been doing this? And just gonna give us a history and overview up to now, and then we'll talk about upcoming things later. But yeah, what's the history of Avalon?
Sure. The history of Avalon is that at first I never thought that I could do a decent job making a fan film, and that's why I didn't do it. I was always concerned that it would not be up to the kind of standards that I wanted. And so I stopped myself for a long time from doing it. But then when I saw Vance Major, he was making fan films all over the place, and I thought, man, this guy's much more courageous than I am. He just goes out and he makes films. And I started talking to him, and he told me that there were sets that I could shoot on. And I thought, I had some money, and I had the opportunity, so I thought, let's go do this. And so we, you're showing Ghost Ship now. We went down to Kingsland, Georgia, and shot, several days there on their set for Ghost Ship, which was the Star Trek Continues and Starship Farragut sets. And then when we returned to Arkansas, we had the fortune of meeting Glenn Wolfe and Dan Reynolds and Warp 66 Studios. And this scene here, with them kind of packing in the shuttle bay, was actually shot at Warp 66. So we had the opportunity to do that, and from the very beginning, I kind of wanted to do something different. I didn't want to, there are a lot of fan films that do a really good job of replicating the exact look and feel of TOS, like do a great job of it. And I didn't want to do that. I'm one of these people that if I'm going to do something, I'm going to kind of do it in a unique way. I'm going to do it different because I'm like that. If everybody
why else do it? I mean, you want to leave your mark.
Yeah, exactly. And so I just decided, I'll just kind of make it up as I go along, and and we started talking and here and there, and boom, the Avalon Universe was born. I mean, Parallels is one of my favorite episodes of TNG, so I was like, why don't we play on that a little bit and see a Parallels TOS?
Yeah, some people in the last few months actually I've heard a few people that just hate Parallels. I'm like, if you hate Parallels, there's something wrong with you. It's great. It's just classic.
It's one of the greatest episodes of TNG.
Classic.
Barney.
Yeah.
I know one of the... There's actually happened to be 2 podcasts like in a row I listened to, but one of them said that Parallels completely devalues Trek for them, mostly TNG, because it shows that they are just one Picard, Riker, Troy of the multiverse, so why should they care what happens to them, because there's going to be unlimited. It does not matter in the grand scheme. That's absurd to me. I mean, this is still our guys, and yes, if they die we'll see another one. Okay, fine, but that's not really going to happen in the Heroes. But it elevates it. It shows that you can do really interesting things and tell stories I never quite tapped into, but yeah.
It's an accepted element of science and science fiction, and
yeah.
I think it's a fun storytelling device, and it's one of those things where it's like, I always say Star Trek did it first, and then Stargate did it better. Because, or at least, because I like, episodes like Ripple Effect and stuff like that.
I still like Parallels, but I still like Parallels more.
But
I like the first half of Ripple Effect more. Like,
Ripple Effect is probably one of my favorite episodes of SG-1, and so
they're just too mean, man. They're just too mean at the end.
I would say that there's going to be more ripple effect to Crisis on Infinite Excaliburs than Parallels, but it's still going to be its own unique thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have anything right now.
Yeah,
so
Josh. So obviously you started this after Discovery, and then you pulled Little Things. And this is more of a conceptual thing because really it should be story first rather than tech first, until you get to the space stuff, and I'll say, hey, let's do this, and you're like, yes. But that's the secondary thing. How much Discovery tech could you see sort of finding its way into the canon? Because it's hard to believe that Discovery's canon in your universe, just because you're following a more traditional linear path. Is there anything of that tech you could pull in and say, yeah, you know what, we're going to make that canon?
There are going to be some limited Discovery influences there for sure. And there already has been. Like I said, we're kind of seeing a lot more holograms and that sort of stuff.
I meant more the bigger tech, though. I mean, stuff you haven't seen yet.
I don't think that we're going to see anything like Spore Drive or anything like that. But I do know that there is going to be a mention of Discovery in an episode where we're going to mention that it existed. But it's going to be kind of a, some characters will say, Discovery, and other characters from other universes will be, never heard of that. I don't know what that is.
Although now I feel like, you said on one of our lives that you emailed me and said, go ahead and make the D7 Avalon. Yep. Maybe you just challenged yourself to challenge me to make the Avalon Discovery.
That's right. Yeah, we have talked about that. And
not a Spore Drive, that's absurd, but you can have something else.
I envision the mention of Discovery. It'll come on a graphic that we'll see. Kind of an Avalon Discovery, and people will be like, "That's weird."
Why are the cells so short? Because they're tiny in our version.
It won't be the Discovery from Discovery. It'll be a different, more of a Star Trek Discovery, but it'll be more recognizable as a Star Trek ship than it is.
Well, I don't think I'd let those things go to air if they didn't feel like Star Trek ships.
Yeah, and so it's not going to be the kind of ridiculous thing we've seen. It's not going to be the Michael Burnham, they'll be like, just a bizarre passing reference to this type of ship, and then, the Prime Universe people will be like, I've never heard of that. That's weird. And the cameras pans them and they say, I've never heard of the Discovery. Not in my universe. And we're like, nope. But what's interesting is, in our universe, we also have the Ares class.
I know.
And
I've done stuff with
and
it.
so
And a
so
Foley
there's
class, not the Foley class, but a Foley class.
Well,
a Foley class.
I was
So
just going to ask about that. So Sturm von Ulk says,
Uh.
"Oh, that explains why the Foley class is different in the Avalon universe."
Which I can show.
Yep.
I'll bring that
Correct. Yeah. So.
up. Which film was that in again? Aaron Darkness, right? Okay. We've done so many. I'm trying to think.
yeah, it was Air in Darkness. We saw the Foley class and the 2 Aries and the D7.
D7.
Yeah.
And a CG bridge, which you underused heavily, but you know you did, and that's okay.
One of the things that, as you know, I'm a huge fan of LCARs. And do you design all the LCARs, or who do you get to do those for you?
I do those myself.
Wow.
Now I do, like purchase some elements that I use. I go and buy certain packs, and then I kind of take different elements and move them around and look at them and say, does this fit? Does this not fit? And then I start to do all kinds of stuff. Like I change colors. I make them bigger, smaller. I do take some prepackaged like widgets essentially, and then I design sort of my own elements around those, and then integrate them. And so there is a consistent design pattern to our LCARs, which I really like, and it has like a really a neat look. I think that does have a callback to sort of the TMP era of readouts, but more than TOS. And it definitely has a different color scheme than TOS, because like if we look at our graphics around us here, that's that's a lot of orange or tomato, yellow, green, that sort of stuff. Whereas our LCARs tend to lean more towards blues and whites, and more of a 2001 Space Odyssey kind of look.
Mm. Now, for those scenes where you see them on some of the panels on the bridge, you're not replacing monitors in those, I assume. You're probably just using green screen. Is that correct?
It's a mix. So there are some monitors on the bridge setup that are displaying them, but
Okay.
at the same time, you'll walk in and you'll see some have monitors and some have just green. And then I put motion track markers on them and then track the screens and replace a lot of them one by one, which takes a lot of time.
Yeah. The Truth Shoveler asks, was this made in Nova Studios in Georgia?
No, we've shot in Georgia. We've shot at Aries Studios and at Neutral Zone Studios as well. So we're actually, I think, maybe the first fan production ever to shoot at all three or three at least TOS reproductions. So we've shot at Neutral Zone, shot at Aries Studios, shot at Warp 66 Studios. And Warp 66 is really interesting because the bridge that we have there at Warp 66 is a recreation, or it's not a recreation, it is the Star Trek New Voyages bridge. So when Star Trek New Voyages stopped filming and they moved, and they what they did was they took their bridge set apart and then they built a brand new bridge set.
Yes, we were there when they were building it. We saw several consoles being built and put in. We saw the moment Spock's viewer got put in. So
nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, when they built the new bridge, essentially that old bridge was donated to Warp 66. So the bridge we have of the Excalibur in most of our episodes is the Star Trek New Voyages bridge. The weird thing about that is we've also shot on the Star Trek Continues bridge, and we've shot on the Exeter bridge, the Tresarian Interception, which became Starbase Studios for a while. So we've shot kind of on all three of the major bridges, at least for Star Trek fan films. It was crazy.
Wow, that's cool. Now, as for your actors, are they all people you know, friends? Do you do casting calls?
A lot of them are. I would say Chuck Murray, Wade King, who's playing the security officer there in Air and Darkness. Victoria, of course, I've known Victoria for 15 years. Tyler Donovan, I've known for 30 years. So a lot of them are people I've known, but A lot of them now are people that I'm getting to meet. Our new lead actress is her name is Pixie, call her Pixie Nereid, and she was named after Lieutenant Ilea from Star Trek: The Motion Picture. And I've only had the privilege of knowing her for about 6 months, but she made such a huge impact on us when we were filming Cosmic Stream. She showed up as a grip and just like crazy, doing a crazy good job. But her talent was undeniable, and we did a table read with her, and it was obvious to everyone that she was just an amazing, talented actor. And we shot another film with her that was a non-Star Trek film, and after we did that, our director of photography, Neil Bilby, he came up to me and he just said, "She's the person." To lead us forward. And I was like, yeah, I know. I already knew that. And but everybody else confirming it was just like that. No, this is the direction to go. And we brought her on board, and she's been so amazing in the filming of Agent of New Worlds, not just as an actor, but as now a producer. She believed in the film enough to essentially finance the filming of Agent of New Worlds herself. And so it's been a really huge thing to bring her on board. When you look at Legacy, playing a little bit of Legacy here, the captain is a friend of mine named Lee Pfeiffer, who I met on another film. The ensign is played by a friend of his family named Georgie Anderson, and she's like a wonderful actress. And we had a great time filming Legacy, and we do plan to see those characters again. That's going to be kind of the basis for our Axanar crossover.
So as if you have a plan. It's important.
Speaking of plans and actors, I know that people can get their voice at least in upcoming stuff going through your GoFundMe as a perk. Do you want to talk a little about the perks on that, and then we'll start talking about what the GoFundMe's for the future. And guys, you have your chance to ask Joshua anything here. So if you want to super chat, please feel free, and don't forget to hit that like button, because we'd like to.
And to be fair, we could actually play. We could take a little 5-minute break and play the first 5 minutes of the Indiegogo video, which we did do for my one. Because then you can listen to you tell them what it's all about.
So, so we're not going to have a lot of traditional perks like send you a poster or send you all this stuff. It's like it's going to be more kind of intangible things, like like Stuart said, if you want to have your voice in what we call like background chatter. So like there's a character on the bridge and things are happening and you're hearing chatter between the decks, and somebody says, we need to repair the photon torpedo launchers, or gravity is down to 0.8 or something like that. You can donate if you PM me or email me or something like that. Then I can say this is what that costs. It's not much. It's like $100, $150. We can put your voice in the film. That'll be kind of in a space where it can be heard. And now we have, the ability, and this is a very offline thing, to, give people walk-on roles as like background actors, and then maybe, a speaking part, but that's getting into, lots of money. So, but that is available.
Okay. Well, let's roll the GoFundMe video, and then we can talk about it after we see that. So
for about 5 minutes, we'll mute, and then you just come back in once we interrupt you with you.
As well as new adventures with Avalon Universe is back, featuring new adventures with classic characters you've loved from the past, as well as new adventures with new characters. Since 2018, Avalon Universe has brought 6 high-quality films to the fans off of only one crowdfunding campaign. And even though we've been able to fund most of our projects ourselves, we do need your help now, and we have several reasons why we think you'll want to help us. Reason number 1. Make Jakande live again. In the immensely popular fan film Interlude, which is set in the Axanar continuity, actor Warren Hawk portrayed Imari Jakande, who made the ultimate sacrifice. Now he's back playing a bold new version of the character. We'll see him both in the present day and revisit his time on the Artemis. We'll also see the 4 Years' War in the Avalon Universe, and we'll learn how he survived. Warren himself is excited to reprise the role, for which he has a very special reason.
The reason I chose to come back was for the fans. I really appreciated all the love. I appreciated the comments. I usually don't try and read things. I just try and, focus. And I started reading the comments and I was like, wow. And then Josh called me and I was like, I have to do this. I felt like it was my duty to do this. Not just because I enjoy sci-fi, but I really appreciated what the fans were saying. And it was that simple for me. I mean, when you look at everything about Jakande, where he was born at, his whole backstory, everything about it just screams action, badass, let's go, let's get it done. Like what? That? Ha! He scoffs at everything. Danger is nothing to him. And he's always looking for the best of the best. That's what I like about him too, that he's always looking for the best of the best so that he can take it even further, because that's what it's all about, going where no one has ever gone before.
Reason number 2. Do it for Pixie. One of the most exciting additions to the Avalon universe is an actor and a new character, which bring an exciting new energy.
So my real name is Ilya, and I was named after Ilea from Star Trek the Motion Picture. I didn't have a chance not to love Star Trek. It was ingrained in me, and I'm so thankful for that. The first time I worked with you all, I think it was actually as a crew member, and I just remember being like, still am, kid in a candy store. Like, I walked on set and I was just like, because everything was so real. I was there, and all my life, that's all I wanted to do is just be on set and be on a Star Trek set at that. So my first experience was awesome. I think I climbed up on Glenn's back at one point and like hung some filters on the lights. It just, the whole atmosphere, it was like, it was fun, it was open, it's the reason I came back. My philosophy has always been like, if you can get your foot in the door or put in the work, like you can show people that you can do more. When you broke the news to me that I would be able to be the lead character in your next films, I had to like take a breath. Like, I think I actually muted the phone call, did, and then I was like, I am so excited. And I tried to be really calm because it was like, oh, it's a dream come true. I've always, always, always wanted to be in a teal uniform.
Reason number 3, the quantity of our product. As we said earlier, we've delivered 6 high-quality fan films, and now we have 2 more close to completion. But the really unique part of this crowdfunding campaign is that we are funding multiple new films, giving fans the most for their contribution.
So I've been involved in fan films for a long time now, and the Trek online web community for almost 6 years. I've worked on most of the big players, and I know people that worked on everything. So when I say a project's worth it, I pretty much, you can be confident I know what I'm saying. And Avalon has been a wonderful surprise in the last couple of years. They came from nowhere, they stormed onto the scene, made a real impact. They've over-delivered. One crowdfunder. How many films? Sorry? How many films? Yeah, more than the one they promised. And that's so rare in fan films because Joshua knows how to spend money, budget very effectively to get a lot out of it, and he knows people around him that'll do great work for not a lot. And that is kind of the heart of fan films.
Reason number 4.
So who was that last guy then? He had a good-looking uniform. So...
Yeah, right?
Huh.
Well, if you can't be good looking, the uniform might as well be. You know?
I hear that. I've tried it. It's kind of funny when your own voice turns up. Just watches. Oh, it's me. Hello.
You looked pretty good in the Avalon outfit there for sure. I liked it.
Thanks, man.
You always get your stuff, like tailored for you, and so it always like fits really well. That's the bane of fan films is the uniforms that don't fit. So,
yeah. I always say to people, you can get like the $30 uniform, just then spend the $50 to get it tailored. Because that $400 uniform and then it not fitting, I won't look at you. There's lines, but do the tailored. It's important. And shoulder pads. Always add shoulder pads.
That is definitely a Star Trek thing. You can't be Star Trek without the shoulder pads, right?
And it's one of the things that your brain doesn't realize doesn't realize you see, but every uniform in every series has the shoulder pads built in. So that line of crispness is just inbuilt with what you expect. Mm-hmm. That's just part of it, It's the subtle stuff.
One thing that I love about that video that I think really jumps out is you look at those two lead actors there. You got Warren Hawk, and then of course you guys got to see Pixie there, and what an energy!
By the looks of it too.
What an energy that these two actors bring. I mean, it's not just an energy that's reflected on screen with their just infectious attitude. It's something that reflects on everything we do, because that attitude spreads to the crew, to the other actors, and when you have fun making something, it really makes the quality of what you're doing better. And I think that everybody could see what those two people are about. Warren's just exciting and fun, and he's got a great attitude, and when he gets on screen and he's got that voice, that booming, commanding voice, he is really an authoritative, commanding captain that people listen to. But then he also tells jokes, which is kind of something you don't expect. And then you could see Pixie there. You could see what she's like, just the energy that she brings, and the happiness and the excitement. That just, man, it filters through to everybody. One of the comments in the comment section was talking about what was the most difficult shoot and why. Well, the most difficult shoot was when we hiked on that mountain on Monday, and Pixie, like, she's throwing a backpack on and she's climbing boulders for 3 miles, and she's spider monkeying over gullies, and I haven't seen a whole lot of actors who are like, we're going to go get the perfect shot. Let's go climb a mountain. You know what I mean? Like, you get plenty of people in the acting world that'll probably be like, I got to climb that mountain. That's going to cost extra. Or
do
whatever.
It in CG. That mountain, CG. That's the answer.
Can we do this green screen? Nope, she didn't hesitate. She just put the backpack on, packed some waters, and off we went climbing boulders, and could have died, but we didn't. and she just led the charge. She had this warrior spirit about her, that kind of filtered through to the rest of us. We're like, yeah, we're gonna climb the mountain.
That's dedication.
It was definitely the hardest thing we ever did, but it was probably the most fun.
And it's interesting about, we've had several generations of Avalon now as the show has progressed and evolved. You had Tyler's energy be sort of leading Ghost Ship, and then you had Chuck and Victoria's chemistry and energy in the second acts, and now these other two actors who are obviously in alternate acts, but as it's spreading, I mean, they're all so different. You're not relying on, as most, or at least the older fan films, all it was the lead guy is the lead actor. You aren't the helming every single one as a lead, and therefore your energy may get better over time in terms of chemistry with other actors, but you're not the one who's leading the charge. But you can watch each one be quite different, and these two have very different energies to each other, to the rest of the people who've been in it, and both clearly have acting chops. Yes, I've seen other footage, so I can say that, but it's it's an evolving piece. You aren't continues well as good as it was. You are seeing the same core people for 9 episodes. This is going to be, again, something new. And we hope to see the old cast at some point back, as we obviously have with Mason, and see how, in a year or two, the energies recombine. And I always like bringing things back full circle.
And that's the hope, that's where we're eventually, that they're all going to meet somewhere on the path and connect with each other on one big blast final adventure. And, but I think with the level of acting that we're about to have going for us, I'm really excited about it because we got some really good people that are involved. And when we finally do meet Pixie's character, we're going to have her paired with a wonderful actress named Jennifer Rader, who plays a character named Ioka, who is Native American. And the two of them had such an amazing, fun chemistry together. It's a wonderful story about two women who are good friends that get trapped on a deserted alien planet and have to kind of work their way out of that situation. And they did a superb job doing this together, and I'm really excited for what they all bring. Everybody sort of brings their own artistic contribution, and that's the thing that I love the most about this, is you bring a lot of good people into something like this, and they all contribute something you would have never thought of on your own. This past weekend, Glenn Wolfe, with the help of a new art director we've brought in named Shaylin, they built a cave. They built a cave set, complete with stalactites and stalagmites, and that was like so fun. Like you walk in and you see it and you're like, wow, this is going to be so epic of an adventure. They built some new props for us. We had this really amazing production assistant named Riley. And she was doing everything. She was being the PA and slating it. She was being a grip sometimes. And then she played like 3 different characters, including like the big bad character at the end. And she blew us all away when she walked in on set in makeup, and we were like, holy moly. And then, our director of photography, Neil Bilby, has really elevated the lighting and the composition of the cinematography to a new level, which I love. I had been doing that previously, and to have him bring his different perspective and his talent on that to bring it up to the next level, it's so helpful. It's everybody comes in and brings their own contribution, and that's really what makes a film, is the contributions of a team.
Yeah, doing it for the creative love of it. I mean, that's why a fan film medium, people have asked us why, individually, and I'm showing to Stuart as well, do your own IP, do your own original thing. And no one can really raise the money needed to produce the thing that you really want to produce the way you want to do it. So that's your idea burned by doing it your own self. But the love of something like Star Trek or Stargate or Star Wars, as there are fan films reach, there's a deep inbuilt love that it goes beyond words, really, of how it means to us. And so you can get people from different facets of life that just the pure coolness of it is worth something, and you've always given them a present by them spending 10 hours working on your film, and then that sense of I've got a present, then you then get to see as the editor, see it all come together. That feels like rewarding. Well, there's some Star Trek on screen, and then the fans, tens of thousands of people get to watch it. That's a present to them. And I wouldn't be there without Star Trek, because that's why we're doing it. And there wouldn't be any of those pillars without the love of the universe. And it grounds it, it deepens it. You make a reference, you throw an alien in, it all adds so much. So it's all this big spider web of creativity and love. And whereas CBS Trek is certainly more limited, Lower Deck's the exception. We can do all those fun things. I paused it for a second on the video, in having the Saladin find a Intrepid from XO1 era, but TOSified. That's a detail that maybe they wouldn't want to do in the current show. So like, well, we haven't got the model, or we don't want to think about that sort of thing. But we did it, adds one to the universe, and we'll see what we'll do in later things. Fan films, they've got a real place and a real joy that I don't think people take for granted, I think. But we don't.
It's interesting because the thing that we keep hearing is that fan films are where Star Trek fans are coming to see newly produced classic Star Trek, essentially the kind of Star Trek that they're looking for, but they feel like maybe sometimes they don't get. Now, I watch modern Star Trek, and I have my likes and dislikes about it, but fan films aren't governed. The creation of them and the writing of them isn't governed by what somebody somewhere else says this should be the thing that is the driving force of the writing.
It's literally not about money, because we can't make money.
That's right.
Opposite point of what they're about. So it comes to a different place.
And, you look at these sets. I mean, the people who built these sets, who would go and build something like that if they weren't just, man, for the love of doing it? You know what I mean? Like that bridge, James Colley and his crew originally built that bridge, and James talked about in the interviews that I saw that he stopped counting at like $20,000. Then Glenn Wolfe has that brought down all the way from Ticonderoga, New York to Harrison, Arkansas, and he and Dan Reynolds go and rebuild it. Why do that if you don't care? And then of course they build the rest of the sets, the corridors, the briefing room. That's not something that you do in an afternoon. So it's a labor of love. There was a question that I saw from Sturm von Alk, who I know who that is, asking about our uniforms. The company is called, you can get them from, is called Xomo, Xomo, Xomo. And you can find them on Amazon. They're about $50 per tunic or dress. But we are talking about investigating the possibility, essentially, of making them ourselves in the future.
Well, it makes
so we're investigating how we would do that.
And that would actually, if it goes through, you'd be able to actually truly custom Avalon versions rather than just being off the shelf Beyond. And that is just Beyond. Not that, I mean, those are very crisp uniforms, but do something truly unique. Maybe an Admiral's uniform, things, variants.
We're looking at, what would this stuff look like in the TMP era? How would
big question.
Like the ship. We're talking about how is the ship in the Avalon universe? How's that going to evolve into the TMP era? And then, when we get into Wrath of Khan era, what's that going to look like? Are we going to see an Avalon Universe Monster Maroon? Are we going to see what a Avalon Universe ship or a bridge looks like in the Wrath of Khan era?
So now you're going to have to. I mean, these 64 people are going to expect it. You've said it. The genie is out. I mean, Stuart, Stuart, do you want to see it?
Yeah, absolutely.
There you go. And the captain. Oh, damn, he's a Commodore. Damn it! You can't rank him, Stuart.
And the absolute goal, the end game, the thing that we all want the most is, what is this going to look like in the 24th century?
Dun dun dun.
We hope we can get there.
Because I've heard all these ideas, but this is not new to me. But it's just like, haha, he's talking about it. Haha.
Josh is like,
it is my goal. I will say that.
Josh is jumping ahead and doing my job. He just answered Sturm von Alk's super chat, so I'm not going to bother reading that one. But Squadra Course, $2. Yay for fan film. Thanks for keeping Canon alive.
Well,
absolutely.
But I mean, you're not. That's the point. You're just keeping the spirit of it in a new form, in a modernized form. You're actually not keeping Canon alive. You're doing the opposite. You're keeping a fan alive.
Well, so the Canon element that we're doing doesn't lie in the uniforms or the displays or the readouts or the spaceships. The Canon for us is in the optimism, in the storytelling, in the character development, in the feel of what you're watching. For us, the Canon is Gene Roddenberry's optimistic view of the future. And that's the kind of Star Trek we want to make. We want to make that classic adventure where you've had a bad day and you come home and you want to share some time with people you like and see an adventure that excites you and makes you smile and laugh. That's our ultimate goal, is to have that kind of storytelling in what we do. I want it to be lighthearted and fun and adventurous, because that's why we all love Star Trek. And I want characters that are funny and fun to watch, and people be like, I think if I could actually hang out with Michaela Allenby and Jakande, that I would. Because I know that I'd want to hang out with him if I could do that.
Mm-hmm.
And also,
cool guy. The whole cast seems cool, honestly.
Yeah, I think you also want to do fun sci-fi things, because part of the universe of Trek is that it is a bit of everything. And, you've semi-stayed away from battles in the abstract. Obviously, we had a big battle, but, you can tell other fun ideas, just fun sci-fi ideas, that really, like, Star Wars wouldn't tell multi-universe, etc., etc. So, go over tell those stories.
It's interesting. I'm seeing another comment about the Mary Sue pitfall of a full and empowered female. And it's interesting because, obviously they're referencing Michael Burnham. And the thing about Pixie's character is that she is a strong and powerful character for sure, but she's not what you would normally see. She relies on her mind. She relies on a thirst for adventure, and she's funny and silly and fun, and it's a very different kind of character than what you've seen in the past. And she is going to go on an adventure and win the day, but may not do it the way we've been used to seeing it lately.
Nice.
Well, as someone who's also writing a strong female lead for my shorts, or at least a good chunk of them, there is that challenge. Obviously, both seeing Live from Home, Nim as Kitty does solve the problem. Does that make her Mary Sue? Well, any Federation officer on any position is going to be good at what they do. As we saw in TNG when we did our review, Stuart, to Wesley to get even into the room to do the tests, he was like one of 3 people in several thousand that even got to that point, and not only one of those 3 or 4 got into the academy, and then they've got to do the academy. Not everyone gets through the academy, and then once you get through the academy, no everyone gets an assignment, and then to get a good assignment, then to get up through the ranks. So by the time you get to, say, a lieutenant grade of even any era, you've already beaten like several million people to that job. If you're not really good at what you do, either you're going to flunk out, or you're in the lower decks crew who's got there for whatever reason. So you've got to be good,
Of course, and it's sometimes also a matter of how. How is the problem solved? How is the bad guy beaten? And I think that you're going to see that Pixie's character is going to do that through wit and silliness and maybe some offbeat ways of doing it. It's kind of like you watch an old episode of He-Man, the Masters of the Universe, and He-Man's the strongest man in the universe, but like when people attack him, it's just like he just moves out of the way, and then they fall in the bog or whatever, and you're like laughing at him with their feet sticking up out of the mud or whatever, and you're like, that's pretty funny. I want to see more of that kind of thing, just like smart, funny, fun type solutions to problems.
Well, it's like Kirk, he's 9.5 times out of 10 going to win. That is the nature of the show, the hero and the character, but he is flawed. You see it, you feel it, you know it, you understand it, and he does it in interesting ways, but also some dark ways. I mean, of course your hero is for the most part going to solve every problem. That's why they're the hero. So it just depends how you do it, that line.
And the thing with Star Trek is they've always been progressive in that way. They always have been, but they never made a point of pointing it out and shining a spotlight on it.
Yes,
they do
exactly.
With the newer stuff, and that's the problem. It was always there. Just you didn't.
Well, 7 of 9 arguably does almost everything in Voyager at a certain point, but you never think she's OP, even though she is.
She was never called a Mary Sue, I don't think. Yeah.
No, you wouldn't consider that. She's just extremely talented because she has flaws and there's problems.
Here's the thing, is that when I set out to write female characters,
they're just characters.
I just took the gender out of the equation. It was just like, these are characters. These are solving a problem. Yeah. What their gender is doesn't make a difference. These are just people you'd want to hang out with. And they're faced with a problem, and they have to use their minds to come up with a solution. And they do it, and hey, let's tell some jokes while it's going on. So to me, that was the approach, is that you don't have to degrade one character to make another character look strong. Each character has a way of showing their own strength and in contributing to the situation, which is what I love.
Yeah. Matt Borman has a question, though. He says, Joshua, when you have the score done for your episodes, what is the process like? Does your composer get to see bits of the episode, or is it based on what might be happening in the script?
It isn't based on the script so much as our composer's name is Adam Mullen. The guy is so cool. He's really super fast, and he's so creative, and he creates these like beautiful, perfect scores. It's never a situation where I have to like go back and say, I'd rather it be this. It's like the dude reads my mind or something. Like I send him an episode and I say, okay, here's the cut. Here's the cut of the film. I send him that and I say, okay, the emotional motivation is this. I give him the emotional motivation, but then I give him a second motivation, which is the Star Trek motivation. So I'll say it's like Way of the Warrior. I'll pick an episode. Boom, this is what I'm looking for. And then he takes those in broad strokes and specifically turns it into something unique. and he does it so quickly, it blow your mind. Um, Excellent composer, uses technology to his advantage, and does an amazing job.
Yeah. Right Sublet makes a good point. Ellen Ripley was originally a man, scripted to be a man. Just swapped gender. Sigourney Weaver played Ripley perfectly. So
Exactly.
And for me, with all right characters, the gender really shouldn't matter unless there's some subtle subtext. But it's more about the actor you've got to do the role, because they bring themselves to the role and what you know they can do, or even what you think they can do if you push them certain ways to get more from them. It's the actor more than the gender. You know, if an actor really can't do technobabble, you try to give them less. That's or you be clever, or you do jives. And if you can really do it, then you make other things.
If it's the future and everyone's equal, it's a non-issue. You know what I mean? It's just like we go about our business. Everybody has their own strengths and weaknesses based on who they are, and we see that.
Yeah.
So probably going back to the GoFundMe now. So what is the overall going forward from here? What do you intend to do with the GoFundMe? And just tell us a little about the future plans.
I'm sure it's probably evolved in the last 30 days of that running as well.
So the goal of the GoFundMe is to fund 3 episodes, and which is pretty interesting to me because it's about the same amount of money that we took in for Interlude, and Interlude was 1 episode, but we're going to do 3. And those 3 episodes are going to be part of Agent of New Worlds is going to come from it. And then we're going to do a crossover with Axanar called To Allison. That's the name of the film. And the subject of that film is you've got this captain who leaves home to go fight in the 4 Years' War in the Avalon Universe, and she leaves behind a 3-year-old daughter who grows up to be Ensign Allison Thielen, who we met in Legacy. And so we're going to see the adventure of her mother, Captain Amber Thielen, as she fights and dies in the 4 Years' War. And it's going to be, the film is a love letter to her daughter about, this is why I went and fought and died in a war. I died in a war so you could live in a time of peace. And it's a kind of a commentary on the vision of the Federation and what it's supposed to be. And this mother encourages her daughter to always fight for the vision and dream of the Federation. And then, we see how the daughter then carries that vision forward. So, and it's, we're going to see basically elements of Axanar from another universe. After that, we're going to do a film called Crisis on Infinite Excaliburs, which is going to be just a fun, crazy romp into multiversal fun, where the USS Excalibur is going to get involved in a real sticky situation where they're going to meet their own doppelgangers from many, many, many universes, from not just Prime or Mirror or Kelvin or stuff within the Star Trek lore, but they're going to go outside of it, and they're going to get to meet maybe their Babylon 5 counterparts, or their Galaxy Quest doppelganger, or maybe even their Stargate doppelganger. And so it's just going to be just sugar, it's going to be popcorn and sugar. It's going to be just a fun adventure. So those are kind of the 3 films that we're working on now. And then our final big TOS era outing in the Avalon Universe is planned for a couple of years out, and that's going to be called The Once and Future Captain. So we've got kind of a whole story planned, and we're hoping with this GoFundMe to fund 3 elements of that we think everybody's really going to love.
Awesome. So it's pinned at the top of the chat, guys. Go check it out. See what you can do to help. We got some super chats, and I got another great question from Matt. So hold on. Obi-Wan says puts in $2, so thank you.
Thank you.
Or $10. Sorry.
That's even more. Thank you. It's 5 times more. Thank you.
This looks awesome. I hope you can continue to make more. And then David Bissig puts in $10. Josh, love your work. Thanks for putting together quality Trek at a time we desperately need quality Trek.
Well, thank you. I'm happy to do it. And I want to do it, and I want to put my heart and soul into it, and that's why we need your help with our crowdfunding, so we can continue to do it.
And then Matt's question, and in the same theme, have you ever had your actors offer up suggestions on set to their characters?
Oh yeah, oh of course. In fact, the biggest offender on that is Tyler Donovan. Tyler is always improving constantly. Like if you write dialogue for Tyler, just count that we're going to get out there on set and he's going to be like, I'll say this instead. You know, it's yeah. There's a line in Cosmic Stream where Jamie Archer is like, Mason, are we dead? And he's like, I don't know, I've never died before. And that's just like a liney improv. So yeah, absolutely. I love to talk with the actors about how they want to develop their characters. Another notable example is Vance, because Vance is playing a doppelganger of the character he plays in his other films, his Constar films. And he has a very specific desire about how he wants to see the life of the Avalon Universe version of Eric Menard, how that character will end up and what his arc will be. And he and I have talked at length about that. And you're going to see a very unique version of the Eric Menard character in our universe as well.
That's awesome. You need a Captain Foley. Just saying.
I think we do need a Captain Foley. I definitely think we need a Captain Foley.
Sam hates that idea.
No, I was laughing from pure enjoyment. I think the chat needs to weigh in there. I think this is a mob rule, and I think, what does the mob say?
And also, Sam looks so good in that tunic. We need to see him in the Avalon universe too. Just saying.
It has to be the alternate great granddad of my other characters. It has to be something Davis.
Okay, all right, we'll talk about it. We'll figure it out.
No, it's got to be Commander Cockings and Captain Foley. You can't.
We'll figure it out. We'll make
a second. You want to make a second non-canon me?
I think we're gonna have to see Captain Foley commanding one of those awesome dreadnoughts. I think we're gonna have to see that.
I should come in the actual Foley class and be like, "What is that?" I come from it. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Or maybe you're flying in my Foley class, or their Foley, and then the other ship comes in and it says, "Oh, that's the new Foley class reefer." You're like, I didn't approve that. What is this? Or it's so pretty.
Anywho,
you just beam straight off my one. It's like, oh, okay, thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. So they say we need Sam and Foley. So there you go.
I saw Sam in a I edited an episode of Constar Chronicles that had Sam in it, and that was so much fun. When he did his Intrepid class. It was really neat.
Do you like my CG rack focus?
I loved it. I thought it looked great.
And obviously not actually on set together, so it's a completely edited moment.
And again, you had like such a great looking uniform that it was like, man, boom, it just worked. I mean, and you know, I enjoyed your acting. Also, that was a fun episode to edit. Really was, and probably one of my favorite episodes of Constar Chronicles.
Well, it helps to have the visuals be truly realised as well. Like you're actually seeing the everything else. Yeah.
Especially with the Doomsday Machine, that was cool.
It was very cool. Yeah, made for him and then utilised in my own film. And then in another one that we're doing together, apparently.
Right.
It keeps getting used all the time.
Paul Rolau? I said that right. $5.
Thank you.
Yes to Captain Foley in a film. Captain Foley approves.
Yeah.
Although, but my question is Captain Foley allergic to Retinox 5?
Yes. That's the big thing with my character. He has to wear the glasses.
Deathly allergic as well.
Yes.
Real bad.
I gain superpowers and nobody wants that, so they just tell me I'm allergic to it. So if I ever get injected with it, that could be a good plot.
You're like the Hulk. It gives you Hulk powers, and then you have to color grade in green. Retinax Rage.
Yes.
Retinax Rage. I like that.
So anybody else have any questions for Josh? I mean, we got him here, and
also
it's been great.
And also just asked about the questions of how to. None of us in this room probably on the chat actually filmed in TOS sets. I filmed, but not as a fan film. You know, anyone ask questions about that? I mean, come on, this is like your childhood, guys, and he's going to physically realise that and the experience to go back and do it again and again to learn. That's a good source for to ask, a good person to ask.
And hit like. We have 86
What?
likes. I'm sure we can get 100 likes. So if you haven't hit it, hit that.
What's it like to film on those sets?
Well,
It never gets
I want one of them to ask you. But yes, that too.
Never gets old. The scene in Ghost Ship where they're in engineering and they're kind of discovering the entity. That's the first scene we ever filmed. That's the first thing we ever did on day one of the shoot.
And Archer knew, gotta be grumpy with the arms closed. That's my move. Arms folded. That's the move. Day one.
That's just, yeah. She has her, again. You talk about an actor that has a vision for her character. She definitely has a vision for her character, and I love who that character is. She cracks me up. There's this part in Cosmic Stream where she really opens up to Mason and kind of lets her guard down, and she's like, you really impressed me. And of course, Mason's secretly in love with her character, and so he kind of starts to open up to her, but then he's like, gets official again. And Tori did this like black belt level eye roll when she wouldn't open up to him. She was just like, and it was such a funny moment that I made a GIF out of it because I loved it. But when we walked onto that set for the first time in Kingsland, Georgia, and we saw that stuff for it, man, you're a kid again. You're 5 years old the minute that you walk onto those sets, and it never stops. It's this adventure that you never want to end. You're on the spaceship. I remember stepping onto the bridge, and it's just like you're here, and again, you never want that adventure to end, so you just keep making more fan films. The feeling that I had when I made Ghost Ship, wow, there was nothing like it the rest of my life. And I never want that adventure to end. And I'll make a lot of films in my life that are not Star Trek films. I'll make films for money, real movies or whatever. But I'm never, if I can help it, I'm never going to stop making Star Trek fan films because that's what makes my heart happy.
Your soul.
Yeah.
Your soul happy goes deeper. And to
sure.
briefly caveat off what you said about the sets. So we had some experience at Ticonderoga while it was literally in production, and then less than the first time. My favourite moment of those sets, beyond being on the bridge, but that gets old quicker than you think. As weird as that sounds, it kind of does. But the moment when the bathroom was through the corridors, or at least it could be, you go round, you go through. So every time I went through, and be able to, at full pace, with the purpose of a real person walking, to walk through the entire set, as literally, the feeling you get walking the halls exactly, and because that's eye level, you're completely absorbed in it. The bridge is you're not absorbed really, but the fully eye level is just like, that is it feels so real because it absolutely is 100% real. You can't express it really, just the feeling of walking through the Enterprise physically. I think I did that corridor walk at least 15-20 times. Oh, you need me on that side of the set? I'll go round. Oh, you need me over there? I'll go round again. Completely unnecessarily distanced, but yeah. Good.
And then you light those sets and you make them look the way
you do.
The mood and you do. And it's the funnest thing in the world to light. So
you see why TOS
are we
did it.
shooting in? Yeah. Another question: are we shooting in 4K resolution? Yes. We're actually shooting above 4K resolution. We're shooting 5.6K on the Panasonic Varicam.
Nice. Obi-Wan, though, $5. Yes, Trekyards in Avalon Universe. And Squadra Course, $2. You don't have to be 100% Canon to respect Canon. And Canon spelled correctly, which makes me happy. So do you guys have an Avalon Bible, per se?
It's all in my head at the moment. I've been trying to write it for like 4 months now, and I just... I've got so much going on that I have to do it in little spurts. But yes, there is one in my head that I'm slowly creating. And I'm going to be very, very slowly, because it's, in between other things, going to like Memory Delta and creating sort of an Avalon Universe Wikipedia type situation, which you can do. You can't do it on Memory Alpha, but you can do it on Memory Delta. So be looking for that in about 6 months.
and also there's new tech coming. We've got new ships galore. And then throughout multiple films, there isn't just going to be one new thing. Obviously, the next show is going to have a new Connie-ish, which we have yet to put together. That'll be fun. See how far I can push it. And obviously, you saw I did some slight tweaks on the mirror Connie. Very slight, but it's amazing how it's such a versatile frame. I'm interested to see, because we were limiting ourselves actively in the last couple. It was just a refit rather than a real evolve.
This is going to be a huge change, and it's going to make its debut in Agent of New Worlds. We're going to see,
1.3.
the next evolution of the Avalon Connie.
See how many versions we get through.
I do wish, as far as short treks and stuff like that, I wish that what CBS would do is that they would just devote a section of CBS All Access to fan films, or Paramount Plus, or whatever it's called now. But it'd be neat if you could go to Paramount Plus Star Trek and there's just a section for fan films. I'd hand them over.
Yeah.
They would never do that, though, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
And I've said before, and I've said to Stuart, with all these sets, I mean, they're not necessarily filming worthy, ready, because there's a line of filming for them versus for us, so they might not consider them. But they could easily go in and film a Trek short in the entire TOS soundstage.
Yeah.
Today, if they wanted to, and people would quite enjoy that. It's shocking how many years in they haven't done that yet.
My favorite episode of Star Trek Enterprise is In a Mirror Darkly Part 2. Wonder why that is.
Absolutely.
Why that is.
Because we not only see a Constitution class, we see aspects of it we've never seen before.
Big ass
it's so
Jeffrey
neat.
tubes.
But those 60s sets wouldn't hold up for a new audience.
I don't think that's true. I think
I definitely don't.
I definitely don't think that's true because I film on them.
Mm-hmm.
I think that now I will say this, that for sure they were made for a very different type of technology. Like back when the original series was being filmed, they were shooting on 50 speed film, which it's hard to imagine that technology. A 50 speed film is very insensitive. You had to use a lot of light. And if you ever look at behind the scenes photos of TOS, you'll notice that they had 5,000 and 10,000 watt lights all over. I mean, they were just drenching those sets and lights. Whereas today, you're shooting with a camera that's instead of being 50 speed, it's 2,500 speed. And we're using these LED panels and these LED lights that'll do all kinds of fun stuff, like the little red alert effect, or you can make them different colors. You can do lightning and cop car and paparazzi and, you name it. You can do all kinds of crazy stuff. And so we're shooting on very different lenses. We're shooting at 4K plus resolution. And so you do have to apply a different technique for photographing on those sets. You can't just do the same thing that TOS
Continues achieve the same look though with modern technology because they showed restraint.
They did, and how they did that was they sort of use very similar tech, but they compensated.
Yeah.
So instead of using a 5,000 watt light or a 2,000 watt light, they'd use a 650 watt light, and then you'd adjust the sensitivity of the camera to match.
Mm-hmm.
So you can use similar overall techniques like a 2-to-1 contrast ratio, or something like that, and get it very similar if you work at it. And there's some of that we do as well, because like I said, we've portrayed what I call the TOS crosstalk era several times, and so we've reproduced the look of TOS with LED lighting and stuff like that, and I think we've come very close on several occasions. So there have even been parts where we've shot at neutral zone or other places where we've utilized the lighting instruments that were left behind by Star Trek Continues Cosmic Stream is one good example of that, where we use some of the instruments that they used on Star Trek Continues to sort of achieve that look a little bit.
Well, guys, 6 more likes get to 100. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Honestly, another $25 in super chats would be
gotta
awesome.
be, guys. We need that last 27. Round us up, guys.
So if you have any questions for Josh or anything, any ideas you might want to throw his way, now's a good time to do it.
And apparently, if you want to book a
I've
holiday
really,
with...
I've kind of been zoned out during this whole thing. So I've been watching like your actual like footage, and now I think I'm gonna go do some Avalon watching tonight.
You can
We
binge
haven't
it.
seen them
More
all.
stuff coming. I'm really excited about Agent of New Worlds, and we've been able to do some stuff in that we have not done in any episode of Avalon Universe. We've done stuff in it we've done in other episodes, but then it's got a whole new layer to it that, man, I kind of want to just like get off and go edit it because I'm that excited. And my thing is, I don't really like editing. Anyone who really knows me will tell you, like, he doesn't really like to edit. I like to be out filming, but I'm so excited about what we've shot that it's going to be such a fun experience to put this fan film together. And man, yeah, I'm so excited about what we've got going on now.
Pixie asked, "Are you excited for the next phase?"
Well, yes, I am excited for the future, and Pixie is one of the biggest reasons why I'm excited about it, because she is really going to bring something new to the Avalon universe, and I feel like with the vision that I have going forward of the tone that I want to have, the type of adventurous spirit that I want to have to it. If you want a fan film or a film at all that has an adventurous spirit to it, you have to have an adventurous character. You have to have an adventurous actor. And there is just like this spirit of adventure and fun that both Pixie and Michaela Allenby are going to bring to this, that it's really going to embody the spirit of what we're going for, I think. And of course, Tyler and Warren and all these other great characters that I'm so excited about are really going to add.
Well, it's now truly the Avalon Universe. You know, we started, it was clear that the trifecta of these people, and it's well, you killed them. So it's shifted over time. You murdered, well, no, sorry, you made me murder them. Let's be honest. You told me you killed them. I killed them in CG. You didn't kill them. You didn't physically shoot them in the face out. I had to kill them.
Yeah, you did it. You did it both times.
I did it both times. I'm the bastard. So, you know, but now, you know, it's a universe of characters, the more you're expanding. And certainly, as I'm, you know, doing my Trek shorts and I'm incorporating so many people from different fan films, you know, I'm the one that's kind of bringing all the post-TNG together, because through me they all exist in the same whatever, and then you get to write for them and have cameos and etc. And we certainly use that in our last Trek short shoot while they happen to be on set. It's like, can you say your 6 lines? Great, in the can, move on. Ha, you're another film. Ha! You know, use it.
And you know, it's not just going to be about the Excalibur. It's big universe, and so we're gonna see other ships, other crews, other people, which is why it's going to be, you know, easy for us to have a Commander Cockings or a Captain Foley, you know, be part of it, or many other characters. So I'm really excited about the possibilities that we're going to be exploring, you know, and creating its continuity all of its own.
It's interesting because just to jump on that as we wait for those last 20 whatever we said dollars, guys, if you can put a comment, question, thoughts, or your favorite thing about Avalon. You know, part of the internal universe of us, Joshua, is that so we exist in our own eras, and then Stuart comes to my era ostensibly, although that, you know, whatever. So if we were included, you might need to have this part of the backstory that I am from the future of that timeline, and now I'm with Stuart. So that kind of needs to be, like, I'm not just a TOS guy, I'm not just his commander. You know, like, if Stuart wants to make me my own name, then you've got to kind of include that a little bit. So then you can have future flash forwards to me as I was in my present, and I've been forced to come into the past. And that would be a nice in for you for the future Avalon, because
It would be cool.
Every costume.
And then by the end of the episode, you impressed me so much, I promote you to Commander.
Promote me to Commander, thanks. Great. Haven't done that for 6 years or anything. But I'm just saying, but that'd be fun subtext, you know. What's it like to have someone from the future who's lost in the past that can't go back home, you know?
That's a film to talk about. That's a film to talk about making.
But not our canon, but Avalon canon, so you get to have fun with it.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Let's you've seen it here first. We've come up with an idea for a new film.
Before you read it, I'll tell you a funny little story, Joshua. So we were on a live, I think it was the second Trek Shorts live, and we were doing okay, but I hope we were doing better. And Mark Lawrence, who's one of our biggest backers in life, in Indiegogo and all these things, and he said, what about the crossfit? Like, he threw me an idea, and that got in my brain about showing this as crossfield from Discovery. And so literally the week later, I'd said to him, okay, if you really want to see it, donate again to Indiegogo, and I'll make it purely on your donation. He did. We've already shot it. I ordered all the CG for it. And it's like, oh my god, because he happened to say, ooh, crossfield. And now I've got an entire short, and it's really rather cool. And
nice.
I'll put work into it, etc. And just because Mark said it. So literally our live chat has created fan films.
I love it.
Yeah, crazy.
Sergeant Montgomery, though, with $5, so thank you so much. Thank you. Keep up the good work, and let's get the captain and commander on the bridge of a Foley class. There you go.
Yeah.
And Pixie throws in $10 with a big thank you Fox emoji thing. So thank you so much, Pixie. That's very much appreciated. Keep up the good work.
She really believes in this. She really believes in fan films, and she's really believed in us in a time when we needed somebody to do that. It was we were walking into the dark trying to figure out what was next, and had some things happen that made the next phase of it difficult. And she was the person who stepped up and said, no, we're doing this. We're gonna make this happen. We're gonna fight all of the adversity, and we're gonna come out better for it. And she's shown huge leadership. She wasn't just an actor. She wasn't just a producer. She was a person who rallied all of us and made us believe in ourselves. And that's a value that you can't measure.
And there's always one person in every fan film team that drives it. Either Nick Cook for Intrepid, Vic Mignard for Continues, me for my stuff, you for your stuff. And so I think you might have accidentally stumbled upon a second equally crazy, maybe not necessarily in the filmic side, but that's neither here nor there. And so I can't think of any of these films as two such crazy, enthusiastic people. So what is that going to be like with two equally or close, passionate people, both driving, both with skills? That's not seen before. And apparently it's sponsored by L'Oreal again. Jesus Christ, stop giving us ads, YouTube.
It's I think what it is it's resulted in making an amazing film.
Several.
And people really enjoying what they're doing. I think it's resulted in, she's like, I'm not going to say she's, maybe our morale officer, I don't know, but she's definitely the biggest cheerleader of what we're doing. And like I said, when we were out on the mountain on Monday climbing boulders, getting all scratched up and stuff, I mean, she just brought this warrior spirit that kind of took over the rest of us. We're like, yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to climb a mountain. And we did.
That's awesome. Mark Lawrence chimes in with your little story there, Samuel, with $5, and said it was to poke fun at it, or of it. But yeah, absolutely.
That's what he did.
I don't think it was serious to begin with, but it worked out really well.
I've done so much work on a bloody Discovery bridge. And I don't like that bridge, Stuart. And I had to stare at that shit for many hours at this point. And I'm not happy with that. Really. But I got to be faithful. Because that's what I am. I'm canon loving. God damn. What you guys make me do.
Well, guys,
I cannot wait to see the Avalon version of Discovery.
I know, right?
Well, that's that. No, it's fine.
Well, guys, we hit our 100 likes. But another $2 would be great for the last super chat slot. Right now, Mark has it, but if you want to snipe in with $2, that would be like our minimum. But that'd be great.
So, can you give us a sense of release dates? What's coming when?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, wow, that was a response.
Yes, I can.
I said to give a sense. I was doing spoilers, but a sense,
Now, I will say that, things could always happen. So we'll say we're planning on doing this. There has been a tradition for some Avalon Universe films that we release them on Halloween. And so it is my sincerest hope that we are able to release Agent of New Worlds on October 31st. And we're going to work pretty hard to achieve that goal. And then with 2 Allison, the hope there, if we can get all of that organized, is to release that on the 1-year anniversary of Air and Darkness on January 1st. Now, we may not meet those deadlines, but that is our goal.
Nice. That's a nice trick or treat. Treat. I screwed that up, but that's okay. Mark Lawrence still throws in $5. Make the Avalon version of Discovery look like the original Discovery teaser ship, or the Discovery Alpha.
That's quite a good idea. I mean, it takes the fun out of me for designing it, but that's actually a fun idea. The better version of it. Yeah. How do I take that version and improve it? That's fun. Yeah.
Ozzy Medeiros, $2 with Hi. Tried to snipe in Ozzy, thank you so much. But Paul beat you to it with $2.
Oh, we love you guys.
So you guys are awesome.
Do go check out the GoFundMe, of course, because Joshua is the most efficient spender most of the time. Unless an actor, messes you around and you have to spend money to get them there, and it's like, oh, not your fault.
Unless you have to spend money to recast an actor twice.
Yep. Well, that's not your fault.
Well, Pixie throws in $3 with a thumbs up pair, so she's got the last super chat slot. So good job. You got a marksman on your team.
But
I'm
assuming she has.
Man, we're sniping it.
If you've seen her hair, I'm sure she has a little sniper rifle inside the hair, like a little tiny. And she's so efficient.
And I want to say thank you to everybody watching this, because you have given us $125 since we started. So thank you.
Amazing.
That's awesome.
Amazing. And that, I mean, I know how far that goes. We both know that does go a long way.
And Sergeant Montgomery snipes in and takes Pixie out, unfortunately, with a $2 snipe.
Oh no, but she needed the funds.
No.
'Tis the way of things.
Oh no. Sweet.
But yeah. So guys, if you can, go check out the GoFundMe. At least take a look at it and see what you think. If you can help, please do.
I'll tease one more thing briefly, just because it's funny to say. I'm literally going to come from this to going back to doing some putting together CG of a ship that Tyler's flying for me.
Oh no!
To then send to the guy that's going to be building the model, so he can then see what it's used in. So I'm going from your face to the thing Tyler's in. So
cool.
Nice.
I'm talking to him here in just a little bit. So
excellent.
Well, Scodger Course snipes in with $1, but thank you so much for joining us, Josh. It has been great, and I'm going to check out some Avalon stuff tonight. I'm going to go binge watch it, I think.
Yeah, and people got to enjoy a lovely, great, continuous barrage of fresh Trek content. Now, go listen to it, go watch it with sound. It's more fun.
Yes, yes, it's much better.
It is.
And Matt Boardman throws in another $5, snipe from the Avalon Universe. So Matt.
Oh.
And Joshua, if you want to thank Matt for the Protector and for the Avalon Universe TOS shuttle conversion, which I'll be working on at some point. That's the next thing. That's that guy.
Yeah, just to briefly mention that, you had this really awesome shot in your Trek Shorts crowdfunder of a shuttle in the middle of the desert. And wouldn't you know it, ours is going to have an Avalon shuttle crashed in the middle of a desert.
But a real desert, not siege desert.
A real desert. We took a background plate of a real desert. And you're going to put a CG shuttle in a real desert. In fact, it's going to be 2 crash shuttles and 2 different plates. I need to send you the other one.
To know those 2? Hit it live, live. Fun stuff.
So, but as far as Agent of New Worlds goes, the whole thing has been filmed. It's shot. It's in the can, and so all that's left to do is put it together.
Nice. Well, guys, I think we'll call it quits there. So thank you so much for joining us, and until next time, he's Commander Cockings.
He's Canon Foley.
Josh Irwin, Commodore Austin from the Avalon Universe.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
See ya.